welcome you to the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show. I'm Robert Gates, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, we save a soul every now and then, so don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. The mission is to build strong businesses in our community and put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself at a business crossroads, I want you to tune in to the Marketing Pulpit TV and radio show every Friday at 10:30 a.m. while we bring you the good marketing gospel. That's right. Got so much to do, ladies and gentlemen, so much to do. You know what I was thinking the other day? I was reading this passage from James Baldwin. So many of you all are familiar with him. But he made a statement that says, to be a Negro in this country is to be relatively conscious and enraged almost all of the time. All right, that's one of those things I might say. I need to say it again for the people in the back. I want you to ponder on that for a minute, because it's reflective of the times that we're in. James Baldwin, give me a second here. I gotta gather my thoughts here. James Baldwin said, forgive me for making a mess. James Baldwin said, to be a Negro in this country is to be relatively conscious. To be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be enraged almost all of the time. Now, what is he saying? He's saying that consciousness, when you sit back and think about all the things that we have had to go through, some of the things that we are enduring currently, some of the perceived awareness of issues concerning social justice and racial justice. When you sit there and soak all that up, think about how your ancestors were enslaved, beaten, the women raped, millions died in the Middle Passage. Now, even today, facing voter suppression, economic uncertainty, disparity in jobs, opportunity. We would be walking around enraged all of the time, according to James Baldwin, if we sit around and think about it and ponder about it. Now, of course, James Baldwin, he came along before the most recent term for consciousness came into play, which is called woke. Now people just say woke. I mean, that is a lot. You have to admit that's a lot easier to say than racial consciousness. And of course, woke is a perceived awareness of issues concerning social and racial justice. And why am I saying all this today? Because I'm in a thought process today, and it has been heightened and enhanced by the social movement that's been taking place right now. And many of my brothers and sisters have been pondering. They've been wondering how do they fit into this new awareness, this wokeness. Some have downright asked, how's this going to affect my pocketbook? How's this going to affect my wallet? Well, that's why later in the show, I'm going to talk about you can be woke, but you don't have to be broke. The two are not mutually exclusive. As a matter of fact, social consciousness pays. And that's what I'm going to talk about in my sermon later on today. I'd like to welcome everybody tuning in from across the country and around the world. This is the Marketing Pulpit radio and TV show, and we do have listeners around the globe because we bring issues of importance to our community. And when I say our community, we mean anybody who's concerned about our social, racial, economic, political well-being, and our health. We call them our community, because sometimes you have to expand your bubble. We've heard that term a lot lately as we're talking about the football games and putting people in a bubble now. They don't mean a physical bubble. They mean your social network or the people that you're going to encounter on a day-to-day basis. So anyway, we're going to talk about that later on. Later on, also we're going to have our special guest and co-host coming on in a moment. This Candace, interesting topic today, talking about wake and woke. Can't wait to get to that. And also I want to recognize and commemorate everybody who's commemorating Eid al-Adha. It's a Islamic holiday. It's two of the big holidays. This is the biggest one. And it honors the willingness of Abraham to sacrifice his son in obedience of God's command. And God said, hold on, you don't have to do that. Let's sacrifice this lamb instead. And so, but his willingness to do that, of course, earned God's favor, and it became a national, one of the holidays, religious holidays in the Islamic faith. And to commemorate it, what they do, they sacrifice usually something, a lamb or a sheep, into three sections. 1/3 goes to the family, 1/3 goes, you keep it home, and the other third goes to the poor and needy. And so I'd like to commemorate that to all of the believers of the Islamic faith. That is today, usually a 2-day holiday, and yesterday and today. Also, there was commemoration for going home celebration for John Lewis yesterday. President Obama gave his eulogy. Tucker Carlson, this little weak man, called President Obama's a greasy politician. God, that's pretty bad. Those are fighting words as far as I'm concerned. Call somebody greasy? And these are the times we live in. Anyway, let me bring in my co-host. I'm getting carried away over here. Y'all don't have me ready to fight somebody over here. That Candace calm me down. I need a calming force. Bring on my co-host here. Good morning, Candace. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. You up here fighting this morning? Oh my goodness!
Come on now.
Hey,
Come on,
fighting words to say the least. To say the least, yeah.
oh, somebody greasy? Come on, bro.
Well, we just have to fight another way, and that's
Okay.
basically where it is. We got to fight another way. We've been fighting with our fists for way too long. It's time to really now, even though we want to hit somebody, it's really now to start fighting smart all the way around. When you're
Love
talking
that.
about being woke, being awake, and the things that you want to do. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm coming in on a fight, so that's basically what I'm talking about here. But anyway, just to say that we just have to fight smartly right now. So even when you're talking about electronics and everything that's going on and being awake and staying woke, when you hear that phrase, but in order to be awake and stay woke, you got to go to sleep. And I'm going to expound on that later on. It's like, okay, I need to stay awake, be woke, but you're telling me I need to go to sleep. But that's how we fight. That's how we fight. And that's what this is going on, even with Ben Carson and all the other naysayers, because that's basically what it is. We have to stay in the fight. See, we're known for being in the fight for 5 minutes and then moving on to something else.
Mm,
So for right now, we have to stay in the fight and you have to be ready. So the
great
question
sister.
I have for every listener that's on here today is, are you ready to stay in the fight? We started this thing, but are you willing to stay? Because it's not about starting, it's about staying so we can get things done. So that's
Amen.
what the whole thing is all about when you're talking about stay woke and being awake, from social justice to any other thing that we've been dealing with, like you came on the show talking about it. I don't think you have to be outraged in order to be enraged, but let your outrage turn into something smart where it's going to be effective and efficient.
Mm, girl, you, you speaking nothing but the truth this morning. See, I knew you come in here and put some perspective on it, put it in context, contextualize it for a brother. So anyway, like I said, when I started this conversation today, and it's gonna be my theme throughout the day. And let me tell you something, folks. I'm not one of these angry folks over here ready to tear stuff up. I'm what I want you to do. And when you use the word woke, we're talking about being conscious. And also because I am a business developer and I'm trying to let people know that you don't have to have this cognitive dissonance where you feeling like in order for me to be woke, I've got to abdicate my ability to make a financial successful life. The two are not mutually exclusive. As a matter of fact, Nothing could be further from the truth. So I'm going to talk about that later on. So, and when I say when brother James Baldwin says to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be enraged almost all of the time. Now he didn't say all the time. So even brother Baldwin said we can take a break from our rage and get some work done because sometimes it is to stay focused when you're enraged. So anyway, we're gonna do a deep dive into that a little later on. We're going to cover some news stories here, Candace. And I think I remember a few months ago, Candace, and I think you and I and many others, we were bringing up the COVID-19 and the shutdown and the pandemic. Man, we were ready to let that sucker go. It was like, man, that's done. Let's go. Let's get on with life. And I think we mentally wanted it to go. We were so ready. We had been in the house. We were ready to open up our businesses. We were ready to get back to life as we know it. And but this pandemic had an agenda of its own. So what's happening right now? We've had right now the unemployment benefits are about to expire. It's $600 a week that was part of the stimulus package, and many people that is really what was the only thing that was keeping them going. I saw a young lady, single mother on TV the other day, and she was talking about how it's her and her daughter. She had a $1,200 a month rent, and that money was really because her job was closed down. She can't go out here and start a business overnight. I tell folks to go start a business if you can, but you can't do that like the wave of a wand. That takes time. And if you start it tomorrow, it's going to take a time to reach critical mass so you can make money. So people like her are in this precarious position where now I think it expires today.
It does.
And there's a different bill coming out, but many people who are getting $600 a week in addition to the regular unemployment that will end today. Candace, what are these folks supposed to do? What do you mean? What's the
Well, you know, and when you think about it, yes, it was a thing, but on the other side, for the economics, for the jobs that's not closed down, because even when I'm out and about, I see a lot of jobs posted. But when you're talking about money that you make, because a lot of people didn't go back to work who still had jobs that was not closed, but they did not go back to work because they were getting more money in unemployment. You know, they were getting more money in unemployment than
Mhm.
they were when they were at the job. So does that say we have to look at another perspective for these jobs if they want us to come back to work in order to be viable in society, to be able to pay your rent and do the things that we really, really have to raise the minimum wage? Because if that $600 a week made such a big influence in everybody that got it and they were able to be okay, and I use okay lightly, that says I'm able to pay my bills and stuff, I wouldn't want to go back to work either because I'm okay there, but I'm struggling over here. So
Right.
what do we do about the struggle over here that says, okay, if jobs are opening back up, are you going to be able to pay me where I'm no longer struggling and my stress level is high? That's opened me up for this virus to get in even more. So it's like a catch
Right.
22 with it.
Yeah. But I think it once again it goes back to this universal basic income you're going to hear me talk about quite often. Whereas these companies are going to have to look at what's happening in society. Companies like Walmart, Amazon, while the rest of the country was being many of the companies that we are familiar with were being told to shut down and close. These guys are making more money than they ever made in their lives. They can't count all the money they're making because of the pandemic. Is
But
that
did they
justice?
pass it on? But did
No,
they pass it on? No.
they did
And
not.
but that is the problem, because for those companies that's still thriving, you know, in what's going on right now, they didn't pass it on to the employees or anything else. It's another thing. They just kept it in, but not giving the employees any incentives to say, you know what, I can go to work in Walmart, or I can go to work at Amazon or any other company that made off really, really well during these 6 months that we've been down, but they haven't passed it on. They
They have
have
not.
not passed it on.
And there's part of the economic injustice that we're seeing right now, and that's why we have to remain woke get woke, stay woke. And just for those who have wondered what woke mean in the literal sense, it's the perceived awareness of issues concerning social and racial justice. And it's not just a racial thing; it's a social thing too. We're trying to combat classism. We're trying to combat elitism. We're trying to combat politicians who have more interest in lining their pockets than serving the needs of the people. So we do have to have a certain wokeness, and that. But later in the show, I'm going to talk about why wokeness and making money are not mutually exclusive. As a matter of fact, many folks, including myself, we're doing okay. I consider myself woke. Now, some of the young folks might say, "You old head, you can't be woke. Woke is a millennial thing." Well, I'm saying socially conscious. We're not going to get into the semantics. I am concerned about social and racial justice. So let's get back to what's happening in the country about this shutdown, this pandemic. Now, for the second time this month, the European Union has extended its ban on American travelers. Now, folks, let me tell you what this what bothers me about the media. Particularly places like Fox News. They never talk about this kind of stuff. They're so busy distracting you. They're in that little 3-card Monte. They're doing these diversionary tactics. We have countries, I mean, continents telling Americans, you're not welcome. You have done such a poor job of managing this pandemic. You have 150,000 deaths. You have 4.5 million people who have contracted the disease. You are still over here debating about whether or not you should wear a mask or not. They're saying you are not welcome in this country. Can you blame them?
Well, we're leaders of the free world, and we're one of the richest countries in the world. But here you have this, our own media is sort of deflecting on the real issue when we're talking about, going outside of here. But then you look at the average, person who's trying to get out of here, and they don't want you there based on what you're doing. Like some of my clients is like, well, I'm going to Jamaica, I'm going here, and they gave me all the guidelines that they had to go through in order to get out of this country, to go there, and the things that they have to do in order to come back. It still begs the question is, why are we trying to get out of here? And why aren't we doing what's necessary for us to be able to get well over here, to get this thing under control, just based on a couple of rules and regulations that we got to follow? If you can't follow the rules and regulations that's going to save your own life, what the hell are you going to do?
Oh my goodness. I think we're dealing with this. I've heard the term, this cult of death. People who are willing to follow a leader to, if it means their own demise. And it's very unfortunate. This should not be a political issue. I mean, and this is not, I'm not speaking of, if Obama was doing this, I would be just as angry, telling people, singing out these mixed signals. And this, to me, this is not racist politics. This is about common sense. We need to do better, folks, of protecting ourselves. That's why, Candace, I like one of the things that you've said, and since I've known you, you have to protect yourself. At some point, you got to take responsibility for your own safety and health.
That's it. That's it. And I stand on that. When you're talking about asking somebody what's their core values, that's my core. I feel this to my core. You are responsible. The government is not responsible. The church is not responsible. God already did his part. So you can't even blame this on God. You are responsible for your own well-being. And what is it that you're doing? So we're so interested in saying, I got to make this paper. I got to make money. I got to make my bank account go cha-ching. But none of that stuff matters if you're not around. Robert, I got a call this morning from a really good friend who was in business for herself, Perlina Designs, and she passed away. And this is somebody that we talk to every single day. Every single day. This thing it's not. So if you hear a little bit. So when I got the call this morning that said she's no longer with us, that she died, but she was someone that was doing business. She was doing business. She had her business going. But when you hear news like that, you have to ask yourself, what can I do? What can I do better for? See, I make no apologies about saying that I'm going to do good for myself. I'm going to be unapologetically, I'm going to take care of me. So everybody needs to be unapologetically to say I'm going to take care of myself, because when I got the news, you know, other than the sadness, you know, and no words like, oh my God, who would expect this? But at the end of the day, the question that everyone should ask themselves right now with what's going on, how can you do better for you and your family? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. The money's going to come if you are in order enough to go and do what you have to do to make the money. But if you're out of order, if you're sick, if you're dealing with all this stuff, let me tell you something. You ain't woke no matter what. You ain't woke no
Not
matter
working
what you're saying.
in any sense of the word. I like to say thank you, Candace. I want to say hello to everybody who's tuning in on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope TV. I see Carol, Cynthia, Janice, Sheila, Sandra, Larry. Let's see, Langston and Alice, Sarah, Alonzo, Robert, cousin James Ellis down in Durham area. Hello to everybody. Thank you for tuning in today, joining us here on the Marketing Pulpit TV show. Now, Herman Cain, the one-time presidential hopeful and the CEO of Godfather's Pizza, former CEO, died Thursday after being hospitalized in Atlanta. And he got coronavirus. He was treated a month ago, and he succumbed yesterday. Now, once again, this may rub some the wrong way, but I consider Herman Cain just like my good friend Patrick Ellis, who passed away last week, a couple of weeks ago, from coronavirus. These are preventable deaths, as far as I'm concerned. We should not have anybody dying of COVID this close to August. If we had taken the steps back in February and March, if we had done the right thing back in February and March, Herman Cain would still be here. Patrick Ellis would still be here. Your friend would still be here. Many people that we know would still be here on this planet.
It's a whole host of people, Robert, that will be here. I don't think anyone can get upset with that, is because we didn't take this serious enough, and especially not the powers that be. But it boils right down to each and every one of us can read. We can follow the CDC guidelines that states on what it is that you have to do. Yes, economically, the world still have to turn and we still have to work. But if you dead, it's still not going to turn. You know, because that's basically what it is. We are still dying in droves, like you said, since in August. If we would have done what was necessary, I'm going to go back one further, because March is that's when they shut us down. Last year in October and November is when, you know, China was going through this stuff. The audacity of you to think that this was not going to get here when you have Americans going all over the world, and you knew about it way back then, but now you got from October all the way to March to say, okay, now we're going to do something. But you really only have to take care of yourself if you really want to, because this stuff is really not real. It's up to you to do something about it. So you have millions of people now that have this virus and several hundreds of thousands that's dead. You know, so I can't even come up with a word. It's incomprehensible as to what has been allowed to happen by the people that we voted into office.
Oh, thank you, Candace. Say hello to Sheila. Sheila's saying hello. Sheila Kirksey, one of the greatest caterers out here. She says hello to Robert and Candace. I see Brother Brown. It's the plumber extraordinaire. He's saying good morning. People are tuning in from Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and they're adding their comments, and we'll be sharing those comments throughout the show. And also tell us what you think. We'll engage you online, and you want us to read your comments online, we will do that. So by all means, this is a join the conversation moment, and we'd be glad to have you making your comments known. Now, this is on a different note. I guess it's on a similar note. The first dog to test positive died. So even Fido's not even safe. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
It's a virus. Nobody's safe. And like I said, it's unfortunate. We want it to go away, but we have to do what we need to do to get it away, because it is almost like the calm before the storm. If you know anything about the medical and what happens when viruses it doesn't do anything till it's finished. This
Right.
thing is not finished. It has not evolved all the way around yet. So I think it's another round that's coming, and we have to really get prepared. If you don't do something now to prepare yourself for what's going on now, it's your own responsibility and it's your own fault. Don't let money be the thing that take your life out of here.
Mm. And Gerald said hello, Candace, as well. All right, we're coming up on a break in a minute. Couple more stories here. The business moguls, these are the folks who making the big CEOs. For the most part, they have been unscathed by this pandemic. This is a poor man's disease. I hate to say it. People who are down here in the trenches who have to go to work, they can't work from home. They can't sit on their offices and have other people out there on the front line taking the hit for them. So this is disproportionately affecting communities of color, people low income. Only a tiny percent of the public companies cut their salaries, and the ones that did, they did pretty much token. I mean, we appreciate whatever you did, but most of it was token for the most part. And some of it was just plain old window dressing. But right now, the average big CEO is making 260 times the salary of their workers.
Mm.
Check this out. Back in 1960, which was it's 40 years ago. 40, what is it? How many years ago? That 40 years ago. Let me do my math here. Yeah.
60 years ago, right?
60. Good Lord have mercy. I can tell you how old I am. That seems like yesterday. 60 years ago. It was only 20 times different. How do we get from 20 times? How do we get from somebody being 20 times more important than somebody else to 260 times? And that number is going to increase as a result of the pandemic.
So how do we change it? Because we can talk about it all day.
That's why I'm going to talk about woke. You don't have to sell your soul. You can take this. See, the problem, Candace, was in the past, people were so afraid of losing their jobs, of losing their livelihood, that they were afraid to take a position. They were afraid to be themselves. They were afraid to look out for their family and their community in the long term because they were so focused on keeping a 9-to-5 job, keeping a car and a house. And that has perpetuated generation upon generation of us being stuck where we are. But now, since wokeness has come about, and as I'm going to show you later on, it's not a bad thing. It's not a 4-letter word, even though it is a 4-letter word. You can be woke. It's okay. I'm giving you permission to come out of the closet, come out of the shadows, and stand on your principles without financial repercussions.
Well, they said you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything, right? So
yeah.
The whole thing is that as we go on a hunt in our lives for the person we have yet to become or yet to meet, it's like if you don't know what you want and know where you're going, you're going to settle for what you find. So we're sitting and settling for what our ancestors did back there, where you said generations and generations that have set us up. But the thing that we have not let go of, that was what they did. That was what my mom did, my grandmother, my ancestors did in order to make it better for them. So that was their thing. We haven't figured out what's our thing. You know, you hear people say, I got that thing. But do you really even know what your thing is that's going to take you to your next level, and stop falling back or blaming what our ancestors did, what our parents did? They did their best. So right. What's our deal here? Like, what's our game plan so we can stay in this game? Because we are losing, like you said. It's an awful feeling to have to say that I don't know. Am I going to feed my family, or am I going to save my family's life? Where the heck does that put you at?
That's right. That's why I've made one of my new slogans: Black Lives Matter, but also Black Livelihood Matters. Our ability to take care of ourselves, that matters just as much. So, because some people say a man or a woman is what we do. A man is what a man does. That's what they were saying used to go. So we have to work on a dual track. As we protect our lives, get people off our physical necks, we have to also get people off our economic necks. So that's why Black livelihood matters too. And that's why I'm letting people know that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay for you to shake off this cloak of trepidation and working incognito and pretending to be something you're not, creating this cognitive dissonance that's enigmatic at best and paradoxical at worst. We've got to move forward with a feeling that it's okay for us to be us. Only then can you achieve the economic independence that you're shooting for.
Come
Only
on.
then.
Only then. But you know what, Robert? Let me just, because something you said made so, it's a feeling. It's a feeling. And that's what we, because the feeling is the one thing that's going to have you take action. Like, what are you feeling? Because again, if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling doubtful, if you're feeling resentful, those are the actions that you're going to take. So
Yes.
what are you feeling that's going in? How do you change that feeling so you can be productive, not busy? See, because there's a difference. So like, how do we change the way that we feel so we can get better inside of this economics without feeling like I have no choice? I have to risk my life and my family's life because we got to eat. Hell, if we don't eat, we're going to die too. So it's like, again, that same catch-22. How do you change that feeling so you can do better and also be better?
Amen. Candace, you got me worked up over here. I'm telling you, we're going to take a break. I'm going to go fan off. I need to put something in this cup besides hot coffee. I mean, something good, but cool. Maybe we talked about lemonade last week, but we're gonna take a quick break. We come back. We're gonna talk about now. If you're gonna be woke, first thing you got to do as a precursor, you got to be awake. And Candace is gonna talk about that when we come back. And then in the next segment after that, we're gonna talk about how social consciousness pays. Now, there's two terms in here I want you to zero in on, and one of those terms is pays. We think about pay, we generally think about some type of financial remuneration, but there are several ways that we can use pay to get the reward that we deserve. We're going to talk about that coming up, and I think that's been part of the problem. We're operating in a system of capitalism, and we think the only thing that counts is how much money we make, or how big of a car we can drive, how big a house we can show off to our friends. I'm telling you folks, I'm gonna give you permission today to accept pay in different forms that would not only just put food on your table and a car under you, but also gonna help you build that generational wealth because your children are watching. One thing I can go to sleep at night knowing that my daughter can look at me and know that her dad, I don't want to, cause they use different terminologies, but they're gonna say woke. But she knows that I am concerned about not just me, but her generation, our community, and we have to, as a community, have to take more of that stance. That's what, when the young folks say woke and the older folks might say socially conscious, we have to look at that also from the economic side. It does pay. We've been led to believe that it's a negative, that it goes into the liability side of the equation. No, folks, it's an asset, and I'm going to tell you why when we come back after the break. Folks, you're listening to the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show. I want to say hello to Sheila, saying amen over there. We saying we got a big long line of people here. Hey there, CC Allison down in North Carolina. Hey there, Chris Clemens. Hey, Lisa Jeffrey. But anyway, we're going to take a quick break. Thank you for tuning in. It's the Marketing Pulpit. You can go to marketingpulpit.com and you can find out more about me, my amazing co-host, Candace Camille. Her information is also there, how you can reach her. And she'll give out her information also later in the show. Also, like us, follow us. You've been missing out. I hate to put it so bluntly, but you guys have been missing out. We don't play over here. We check it up. And I want to say hello to Sister Navita Bell down in North Carolina. Bless your heart for joining us. Say hello to Bradley Thomas, attorney Bradley Thomas, the intellectual property entertainment attorney, one of the greatest ones that I know of. And he says hello also, Candace, that's Attorney Thomas. And so folks, join the conversation, put your comments in the feed, and we will engage you on the air. And I'm going to take a quick break so I can catch my breath. I'm getting like my dad over here. He was a Baptist minister. Don't get me breaking out my robe here in a minute. Marketing Pulpit, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after the break. Friday, yay. Oh, let me tell y'all something. This group 98.6 band, Bradley Thomas, Billy Jolly. I have my copy here. I want you to go to their website, np6.band. This is their CD. They have a story that needs to be told, needs to be heard. And they're also one of the sponsors of the show. Now that's a group that's really woke. Man, I tell you, I have nothing but love for people like that. Some of the band members, Kenny Jones, George Porter, Steve Arnett, David Sinkfield, Tony Smith, Willie Jolly, Gary Thomas, Charlie Williams, Bradley Thomas, Prince Emil, David Hines, Ronald Thomas. These guys put together a band back in the 70s that were the rivals of bands like New Birth and Earth, Wind and Fire. And they ran into some copyright issues. And the make a long story short, the music had to be shelved for about 35, 40 years. And Kearney Thomas finally got the rights back to the music, and they've relaunched. They have this CD called Time Will Tell, and you can get it by going to their website, np6.band. And I have my copy here, and I'm telling you, they will actually autograph it to you. This is going to be a collector's item. I can guarantee you that. So anyway, go to their website, and thanks again to the NP, the 98.6 band. And man, great music, great music. We're back. I did calm down. That music kind of helped me out a little bit there. Thank you, Bradley, for your band, for giving me some grounded me a little bit here. We're gonna like to also welcome back my co-host, Miss Candace Camille. She's a wellologist. I like that term, boy. Wellologist. I hear wellologist. I'm thinking well. Some wellness involved. Hey, Candace, jump right in here. And also, like I said, go to marketingpulpit.com and follow us. You can find all the links to the different platforms we're on. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. And you can go back and listen to all the shows too, right there on Marketing Pulpit. If you missed last week's show, you can go ahead and join in and listen. You can also go down the list and listen to them all. I see Sister Alice Brandon Williams over there. She's saying, teach, brother. Go ahead. All right, sister from Livingstone. I see Livingstone up in the house. And I see Sister Sandra. She's saying very interesting and relevant. So thank you folks for joining in. Thank you for joining in. You guys, I love you guys out there. I'm telling you, love you. This show, you guys have made this show. I don't know if y'all watched our numbers over the years. we first got on Facebook. We were happy to see about a couple of hundred folks. We said, man, we got some listeners. Man, we into the 4,000 marks now. We have jumped. I mean, the numbers are climbing. So we're looking at that 10,000.
That's about staying, so from starting to staying. And
yes.
It just goes the same when you're talking about, and it's something that you've done every week for how many years?
10 years.
10 years. So you're
constantly.
talking about staying power. It's constantly. Yes. And that's what it takes to stay woke. You got to stay.
Yes, indeed. Sheila said, post the link. I'm going to do that. Sheila, it's Candace, can you do that? Put the Marketing Pulpit website in your, since you got your key back, I'm sure your fingers are faster than mine. I got these claws over here.
I will.
So it's marketingpulpit.com, and you'll find all the links to all the networks. And also, Candace, please put your information in there as well so people can find you. And I'm also going to run it across the screen. As a matter of fact, let me put this on the screen here. I got all this technology. I need to start using it, daggone it. Here's the at Marketing Pulpit. And let's see here. Go to marketingpulpit.com, and let me put Candace's information up here as well. If I can read Candace. Candace, let's jump in here. We're talking about woke. And when I say woke, folks, I'm not over here trying to be cool. I'm just saying one that has a nice catchy title. But we really talk about social consciousness. We're talking about being aware of what's going on around you. And I quoted the great Jane Baldwin earlier in the show. I'll repeat that again. And it's not to offend anybody. If your panties get all in a bunch and you got some issues you need to work out. But to be a Negro in this country is to be relatively conscious is to be enraged almost all the time. Now, that's author James Baldwin. He was the author of a few essays. Some of the better ones that we might be familiar with are Note to a Native Son and The Devil Finds Work. Those are two of his most common and popular essays. He called them essays for some reason rather than books. But anyway, what he's basically saying is that when you sit back and think about all the stuff that has been done, all of the injustices that have been levied against our people, and you sit there and ponder on it, it will drive you crazy. You have to put it out of your head. And like you said earlier, Candace, you have to channel it. You can't go around beating people up and tearing stuff down, but we have to channel it. And we have to get out of this notion that you can't you can't be consciously awake and still be successful. We already talked about, folks. I'm sitting here at 10 years. I don't bite my tongue to anybody. Folks tell me, Gatewood, don't you have to tone this down? No, I'm doing is telling the truth. I'm not making lies. I'm not inciting anybody to do anything untowards. I'm just speaking the truth, and I'm trying to turn that truth into an economic advantage for my people. And if you got a problem with that, then that's your issue. Candace, let's talk about. I know I'm talking trash today. That's what happens when you're free.
I'm always talking trash. It's like but I get asked the same question, like, Candace, why are you're fussing? At the end of the day, it's just who you are, not so much that you fussing about this core value, what you feel, how strongly you feel about it. So even when I think of James Baldwin, when you talk about the outrage, I don't say be angry outrage, because anger turns to stress. So you literally have to be more so enraged, I'll say it like that, and do what you can do and be patient in order to get to where it is that you need to get to. That's what I think about when you're talking about staying woke right now.
Right.
Like being woke, being awake, being aware of the things you have to be. It doesn't have to be out of anger, because when we hear the word outrage, we think we angry and we're fighting, but there's another side to it. So you have to look at the flip side to it. Like, what can you do consciously? And Robert, where I come in at is unconsciously. Because exactly in our unconsciousness, where we're sleeping, is going to guide our consciousness.
Yes.
Right. So if you don't get unconscious, you can't be consciously into anything, because your mind is going to take it. Your mind is going to go where it's been. So if you don't get unconscious for it to settle down, for your body to just relax, so your body can get rid of inflammation, and I really want to jump into that. You ain't going to be woke. You ain't going to be woke. Jump in. All right. So listen, for those who don't know,
get your preaching robe on.
Let me jump in. Then I'm gonna give you some tools you can use so you can stay woke, because you're not broke. Because there's two sides of being broke, as Robert said. So you're talking about being broke in your bank, and you're talking about being broke in your body, right? So I'm Candace Camille, the Wellologist. What I do is I teach women to be sexy, fit, and well through meals, mindset, and movement, with results you can feel in your body, that you can see in your body and feel in your soul. So you're talking about feeling great, looking great and thinking straight, feeling amazing, looking great and thinking straight. And that's when you're talking about being woke, that you're at your best. Like, how do you get to your best? Because that's basically what it's all about. Because even when you're talking about trying to fight this social injustice, be it economics, brutality, racism, everything that's going on, you have to be at your best. We can't be at our best if our bodies are inflamed. So there's 7 in 10 of us that we are in consistent inflammation. So when you have that much swelling going on in your body, you can't think straight. You just can't. So if we want to get better outside of us, inside of this social economics, the injustice, everything, the racism that's going on, so we can be at our belts and just not making noise. My grandmother said, are you just making noise, or are you saying something? See, a lot of us right now are just making noise, and we need to say something, and we need to know what we're saying, and we need to get it together. But the only way to be able to get that together is that I go right back to you. Is right back to making you the priority. Money should not be your priority, because you'll make more money if you are the priority. So meaning that if you take a minute, right? You got a minute? Of course, if you got a minute, you can go to sleep. You know, you gotta go to sleep, Robert. Listen, I hear people say, I can sleep when I'm dead. I got news for you. You're gonna be deader faster than you think if you're behind the sleep. So at the end of the day, this is where we build. This is where we get rid of inflammation. We wondering why all the things that's going on with us and why we can't stay woke. It's simply because of the inflammation that we have in our body. It is the catalyst to everything that's happening to us, whether it be diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, cancer, all the things that we're dealing with, obesity, everything is borderline on inflammation, right? So we're everything. Did I say that? If somebody write that down, please. Everything that's happening to our bodies is boiled down to the inflammation that you have, because your heart can't function right. Your kidneys can't function right. If you don't go to sleep, the inflammation builds. So you're not allowing your body to work to get rid of all of that swelling and everything that's going on. Sleep is a huge part of you staying woke. So if you want to be woke, if you want to fight this injustice and all the things that you're doing, because I've been talking to a lot of clients lately, and one of the things they're saying, they can't go to sleep. They're chasing their thought process because they got all of this stuff on their mind, because they're, that they're stressed out. What's going on? I don't know what to do. So they can't go to sleep. So listen up. I want you guys to get a pen, see, because you got to go to sleep. And you're going to lay down, get your pen, right? You don't think. So if you want to be woke, here's what you have to do, right? First of all, you got to prepare. You got to prepare, Robert. You got to prepare for sleep. So you just can't say, you know what, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to bed right now, and I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to sleep till 7. It doesn't work like that, right? So you have to prepare yourself. What does that mean, Candace? I'm so glad you asked that question. First of all,
what does that mean?
First of all, you got to shut all these electronics down. We got a TV in our room, Robert. We got our phones. We got computers. We got everything. An hour before,
black folks can't sleep without the TV on. Come on.
Well, listen, ain't nothing supposed to be going on in your room. You ain't supposed to have no TV in your room. It's either gonna be some SNS. That's some sleep or some sex. If you ain't doing that in your bedroom, ain't nothing else supposed to be in there between the sheets with you. It's just that simple. Take it out. Take the TV out the bedroom. Shut it down. It really is for intimate time and sleeping. That's what it's for. But you prepare. So you shut it down like an hour, hour and a half before you get ready to go to bed, because the blue light in your brain stays on. So now you have melatonin and serotonin fighting each other. So you want to shut it down. Just like your grandmother always said, you want to take a hot bath. You want to drink something warm before you go to bed, and it prepares your body to go to sleep so it can rejuvenate, so you can think better, so you can focus better. Because in order to stay awake and fight this thing that we got going on right now, you got to get focused. And if your mind is not focused, if it's clouded and the inflammation is consistently building, where we're letting go cortisol that goes through our bodies, that you will not stay woke. You just won't. You may think you are, but at some point you're going to break. See, because I hear a lot about, I'm fine. I may be overweight. I got diabetes. I'm going to take my pill. See, some of y'all rather take 2 pills than to take 2 stairs. I just have to throw that in.
Girl, you'll be stepping on folks' toes this morning.
So listen, I need to step on your toes, because you ain't stepping. Somebody needs to. So you can't say, I can say, what are you pretending not to know? See, because Robin, we all know that we got to go to sleep, that we got to eat better foods. We know that we got to drink more water. I'm not telling you something that you don't know. So the question I want you to ask yourself, Why are you pretending not to know this? And why are you pretending that nothing's going to happen? The same way that we're pretending that if we don't talk about coronavirus, if we don't hear about it, it's going to go away. I don't have to do these things. I'm just going to continue on. We got to stop pretending. And that's you having inflammation on your brain that happens. That's inflammation on the brain where it allows you not to think. So listen, as a wellologist, I'm telling you that if you prepare yourself for sleep, right? If you shut all these electronics off, turn the TV off, right? Take a hot bath, right? Drink some hot, some warm milk like your grandma always told you. It really does make you sleep. If you want to know one of my potions that I drink, let me give you a quick. I drink ginger, turmeric, and coconut milk every night before I go to bed. It knocks me right out. Right. So again, you want to try to at least get 7 hours, and that's a bare minimum for adults. But I'm telling you, if you go to sleep only 4 hours right now, try to take it to 5 and slowly but surely get to your 8 hours. I promise you, there's no guarantees in life, but this is one thing I promise you. If you can get yourself to sleep in 7 to 9 hours a night, you will stay woke. You will be awake. You'll be able to fight this fight that we need to fight. And that's what I tell my clients every day. I'm a high performance trainer. If you're coming to me, we fighting, and we need to fight the fight. And these are the things that we have to do every day to get rid of this inflammation. Listen, I have very little simply because I do what's necessary. Been doing it now for 30 years. What are you doing so you can say, as the young people say, what are you doing physically? Physically, how are you building your body cash so you can stay woke? If you want to know more, listen, follow me, go to my page, Candace Camille, the Wellologist. Go on Instagram at the I'm at the Wellologist, of course, all social media sites. You can go to my website, CandaceCamille.com, get more information. You can inbox me. And if you're ready to work on your meals, your movement, and your mindset, listen, join me in my 40 days. 40 ways, rocking to the rhythm of your thought, where we move every single day, Monday through Friday, in the Be Fit 90, where I literally tell you what you need to eat. On the red couch, I'm going to tell you how you need to think. That's how you stay woke.
Girl, where's the mic? Where's the mic for me to drop? Oh my, dropping the mic, man! I tell you, I'm gonna try everything you just said. I'm gonna turn off, because I be watching. This is crazy. I be watching that show, Kings of Queens, with Kevin James and the lady that the Scientologist, what her name is, Carrie and Doug. I sit there and watch that. I go to sleep with that on. Sometimes I have that going on with the music, and I'll be waking up in the night. I'm hearing what's going on the TV, even though I'm supposed to be asleep. I am in the middle of these conversations and these TV shows. So if somebody's being shot, I'm being shot. Somebody laughing, I'm laughing.
But you know what? You just proved the point, and that's what happens when you take all of that stuff to bed with you. So if you're taking all of that with you, how are you going to wake up and be woke? You're waking up talking about shooting somebody. Really?
Right. That ain't woke. Thank you. Hang on. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to continue our conversation today on being woke. Go to Candace's website. The information is on marketingpulpit.com. It's also right here on the screen. You can find her on Facebook, her website, and just glad to have her. When I come back now, I'm going to get back to James Baldwin and his statement. We're going to talk about how social justice and being woke actually pays. Okay, I know y'all thinking, man, I can't pay my bills. I'm out here being all woke and socially conscious and worrying about other folks' well-being, and I got my own bills to pay. No, folks, that's not the attitude. You have to have a stake in the community in which you live, and part of that is being socially aware, conscious, looking for racial justice, and short, being woke. What the young folks said it best. So hang on there. We're going to be right back after the break.
If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you do understand will confuse you. In all of these 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war.
All right. I quickly tell you about my sponsor, BLE Executive Suites. We've seen an unexpected surge in people looking for. Well, let me paint this scenario. A lot of people right now, they don't. Some of us have these big mansions out in the suburbs. You got a upstairs, downstairs, feet there in the basement. You got an attic. You got decks and all kind of stuff. So you can stick Susie over here, little Aisha over here, little Charmaine over here in the corner. Mom can go down in the attic, and everybody has space. Well, what if you're in an apartment? What if you're in a little old house with 2 bedrooms and just a den? What are you supposed to do? Well, BLE has suddenly gotten this overwhelming interest in people wanting to expand their study and work areas by contacting them to get one of their affordable suites. You can get it on an as needed basis. If you have a class or a job in a job time that you have to be at the job on a certain day, you can schedule that time, and that time is yours. And now you got a chance to get out the house in a safe environment with privacy, internet, safety. You got your desk, you got a phone, and that has been a big demand for services. So if you are an educator, if you are a student, if you are a cosmetologist, a waxer, a braider, because let me tell you, even though you might decide that you can start doing your work at home, your family might have other ideas. You're not bringing all these folks through here with that COVID going on. So you may have to take that outside the house, but you don't have to go out here and sign a big long lease. So you can set your appointments, let's say on a Thursday from 4 to 7, rent BLE during that time every week and do all of your clients at that particular time. Now you can go back home, take your shower, take off the clothes, burn them, whatever you do to make sure everybody's safe. But you have taken that outside the house and it did not break the bank. And so if you're interested in that, call them at 301-322-1700 or go to their website, blesuites.com, and just tell them Gatewood over the marketing pulpit told you that there are options, folks. That's what this show is about. We're about bringing solutions. We got to go out here and make this money while we're being awoke. You're listening and looking at the tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit TV and radio show. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. We also have they're holding a spot over at Radio One. We'll be back over there one day. But this pandemic, it just has a mind of its own. So we're doing it on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube Live. And you can get us on any of those platforms. I'd like to thank everybody who's tuning in from all over the world, and we're getting a lot of comments. And thank you for all your comments and well wishes and greetings. And I'll try to call most of you. If I miss you, I'm sorry. I see Miss Brynn the model joining us from North Carolina. She's been a sensation. I'm just watching her career just take off, and I'm sure they're having some challenges too now because a lot of the runways and movies that they had scheduled have been postponed and put off. So these things affecting different people in different ways. I see the accountant, James Fleming. Thank you, brother, for joining in today. And thank you for all of your love and well wishes coming in from around the globe. We're talking about woke today. We started off talking about James Baldwin, who said, to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage at all times. Now, I don't want to, if we take Brother Baldwin's comments at face value, then we quickly realize that being awoke in a capitalist society is rather enigmatic and paradoxical all at once. So it creates what we call, the therapists call, a cognitive dissonance, where you're being pulled away by conflicting beliefs. So I'm saying that what this does is causes this We have to do this code switching where one day we woke and then we put on our suit and then we get unwoke. We do this undercover brotherism where we like one day we got our dashiki on and kufi cap, and then we throw on our three-piece suit the other day, and we get all these we are living incognito. I'm saying, folks, we don't have to do that anymore. I'm telling you, come out the closet, sisters and brothers. Let me help you out here. I'm gonna repeat. Being woke does not mean being broke because social consciousness actually pays. Now, let me look at the word pay for a minute because I know some of y'all say, wait a minute now. I've been woke all my life. I ain't getting no money. Well, pay actually means to be worth the expense or effort, which does not always necessarily mean financial remuneration. It means to be requited according to what is deserved.
Woo!
Which may or may not include financial remuneration. Now we have these different types of woke folks. We have the unwoke. These are folks who just go along life happy and tap dancing, just having a good old time. The status quo is fun with them. We might call them not conscious. We have the fake woke folks. They're woke when they're woke when it's convenient, or only to make money, or only when it can favor or benefit them. It's rather an unconstructive way to be woke. Then we have the truly woke. These are people who are consistent. I've heard you use that term, Candace. Consistent, constancy, uncompromising, 24/7. Woke is what yours is knitted into your fabric. And one thing about being woke, you've got to be consistent if you want to pay. And we already talked about what pay means. It doesn't mean necessarily I'm going to give you a check. I see Candace. Candace is woke. She doesn't have to explain to me how woke she is. This woman lives a woke life. She is cognizant, she's aware, and she manifests that in her daily activity. Am I right, Candace?
Absolutely, absolutely. But you know, Robbie, can I just say one thing? Because one of the things you said when you talked about the definition of being paid, one thing that stuck out with me, it said is what you deserve.
Yeah.
See that's huge. You know, those are buzzwords for me because at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, like, are you doing at the level at what you deserve? See, because even when you look at it, like if you're just saying, and I'm going to use, releasing weight, losing weight. If you saying you want to lose weight and you saying you want to, get it, but all you're doing is eating McDonald's and sitting on the couch, you're getting exactly what it is that you deserve. You're talking about being paid. Are you doing what's necessary in order to be paid, whether it's in your body, whether it's in your business, or whether it's in your bank? You have to ask yourself, are you getting just what you deserve based on your actions?
Girl, you better preach here. Now, you must be consistent to be woke. You can't be woke sometime on, sometime off. Now, being woke has some intangible benefits or rewards. One of the ones I like, and as we get older, we can relate to this. It's called self-actualization. When you start to realize what you're about, and you can live that in your everyday life without fear of it offending, or if I might not make money doing it. Self-actualization means you become who you actually are. Wokeness brings you closer to that. Wokeness builds character. It tells people that I am more about other people, greater society, than just myself. Wokeness brings a certain amount of pride into your existence. It brings esteem. And I'm going to tell you something too, Candace. Wokeness is attractive. It's sexy. It looks good on you. I'm telling you. There's nothing more attractive than a woke man or woman. I'm telling you. It's just what you just wear it well. People look at you with a certain amount of respect. This person is comfortable and confident.
Woke is the new sexy. Did y'all catch that?
What's going on? Now, and I'm gonna wrap this up. Now, woke also has some financially tangible rewards. Let me tell you something. This is people right now, they're selling merchandise. They're selling, I've seen young people putting together shirts mask. I have my I'm looking for my face mask. I have a face mask here. This is a woke face mask. It says it's justice. Somebody is selling those and making a lot of money because they did not have to compromise, and there are other woke people who are more than willing to remunerate them financially for their innovation. So you can sell merchandise. You can sell your books by being woke and not compromising. One of my one of my one of my clients called Neely Fuller. He wrote the book called The Independent Compensatory. It's called the Counter Racist Code, and it talks. He wrote a code on how to deal with racism and white supremacy in the United States. He's selling more books now than he sold in his life, and this guy is 90 something years old. He did not compromise on his being woke. So yes, there are tangible awards. There's a little less known author called Robert Gatewood wrote a book called Played in Full. This book had sat on the shelf for years. I mean, it had a big bounce in the beginning when it first came out, but I stuck to my guns. I've been woke, so called. Like I said, you young folks can sit here and debate it or not, but I am socially conscious. This book is selling more than it has ever sold. I did not compromise my values. It talks about the marketing exploitation of blacks in America. So there are tangible benefits of holding the line on being woke. On LinkedIn, where I am on LinkedIn, I have about 2,000 followers, and my audience is diverse. As a matter of fact, it's probably more non-black than black. And I have been contacted by people who are looking for people that think like I think. They need consultation, they need advice. Being woke has financial rewards as well as the intangible ones. Employment. Felicia Mayo, she used to be the diversity officer at Tesla. She just joined Nike this year. This lady is woke, and she's using that wokeness to get paid in some probably seven figures. She did not compromise. She remained woke. So what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, be woke, not broke. They are not mutually exclusive. You do not have to sell your soul. You do not have to sell your soul to make money. You do not have to sell your soul to sell a book. You don't have to sell your soul to get a speaking engagement. You don't have to sell your soul to sell merchandise. You don't have to sell your soul. You can be you. Hold your ground. Look out for your people. Be concerned about your community, and the financial rewards will come as well. Now, what I do want to say, and I've said this many, many times, folks, let's remember also, it's not all about money. We've got to be about something more than just trying to make a quick buck, because that has gotten us in untold amounts of trouble. When we're chasing that dollar, I think the OJ said money, 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 and mean green. Yeah, we want to get paid, but when you are about something, when you have a purpose and you're concerned about other people, the money will come. But even if it doesn't come, we have intangible things where we're actually getting paid, getting what we deserve. So, as I wrap this up, that's where the music's supposed to start. When you're from the pulpit on Sunday morning. Where's my organist that got it?
Well, Robert, before
Let
you
me
wrap,
wrap it up.
can I ask a question? Because before you wrap up, one of the things I want to know when you're talking about, staying woke and not broke and the things that you can do in your community, because a lot of folks always ask, like, what can I do? Because some of us out here, we just don't know what we can do, especially based on in the community. So can you just give 3 pointers on, 3 tools that somebody can walk away with right now that says, what can I do inside of my community so I can make it better?
Yes, indeed. First of all, what I want you to do, I want you to channel that rage you have. Channel that rage into voter participation, into voter registration. Channel that rage. And like Brother Baldwin said, it means being enraged some of the time. Don't let your rage get the best of you so you're doing things that are non-constructive. So take that rage and channel it. Something else you can do, engage in reciprocity. In other words, support people that you want to support you. If you want somebody to support you, support them. Givers gain, okay? Join the right groups. Join groups that share your interests and align with your values. Expand your bubble. We live in this little bubble. We're in this myopic society. We want people to look exactly like us, to wear the same hairdo we wear the same clothes we wear. I'm saying it's okay to expand your bubble to include people of different races and different faiths and different beliefs. It's okay to expand your bubble as long as you don't compromise your values. Let your consciousness be part of your brand. Things about who you are, your beliefs, your belief system, your culture. Let it be part of who you are and not something you just pull out when you're trying to make a quick buck. Listen and learn and learn from other people, even people that don't think or look like you. We have this in this society, we have so much divisiveness. People are ready to beat up people and chastise people and marginalize people just because they don't think the same way we do. I'm giving you permission to go ahead and listen, hear them out, let them talk their piece, and then you turn around and let them know why you feel the way you do. And the last thing they can do, Candace, come out of the closet, be yourself.
Yourself.
You're gonna attract people that feel and saying the way you do, and you will not know it long as you wearing this cloak of anonymity and operating incognito. So, yes, being woke pays, but you have to be genuine to do it, and you have to be willing to do it whether you're getting paid money or not.
Yeah.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Stay woke. Stay woke.
Stay
What
woke, ladies and gentlemen.
you said stop showing up as your representative, right? And own
Yes.
truth. Stop showing up as your representative and own your truth. This is one of the when you're talking about taking the mask off. That's a mask that you can take off, but keep the other one on.
All right. Brother Brown calling me a preacher over there. I tell you guys, my dad put it in me. I can't help it. And hey, that brother Kenny Jones, thank you for the comments. Thank you for everybody for tuning in today. I want to thank my special co-host today, Candace, and take this sister's words to heart. Get that sleep. I'm glad you brought that message, Candace. You must have I think that was the Lord working, because man, I tell you, I got up the other morning at about 3:49, didn't go to bed about 12:30. I only got like 3 hours of sleep. Well, this is what I was doing, and I know it was. I called myself. My workload has been very busy during this pandemic and social injustice, and so I said I was going to help combat it by getting up a couple of hours earlier. And I'm telling you, at the end of this week, I'm surprised I'm sitting here, because I think if I had taken your advice earlier in the week, I would have gotten my sleep, and the hours that I was awake, I would have been more productive.
Yes.
So I'm thinking I'm getting ahead, but what I'm actually doing, I'm actually working at cross purposes by not getting the sleep that I need to make myself woke and more productive.
Absolutely.
Candace, put a bow on it for us, dear. Let us once again let folks know how they can reach you, and any closing thoughts.
You know what? Again, just stay woke, but everybody's wokeness is different. So you have to figure out what your wokeness is when you're talking about in your body, in the community, in your business, even as in terms of building your bank. Like when you're talking about your consciousness, where does it lead you? But at the end of the day, I want to leave you with this, that all of that leads right back to you, making you the priority. Because if Robert would have made himself the priority through the week, he would have been able to help more people without being tired and as you go. And so if you want to do more, you have to make sure that you do for you. I'm the Wellologist, and that's what I do. For more information about me, like I said, you can follow me on Instagram, like me, all the social media at the Wellologist. Go to my website, CandaceCamille.com, and join us in this movement, because that's basically what it is. Movement is my jam. So if you're looking to move better so you can be better, join us join the movement so you can see exactly how that helps you in your sleep to get rid of inflammation and everything else about your body. Make movement your jam, no matter what it is.
Amen. And brother attorney Bradley Thomas said, we're barking up his alley today. He's an attorney, he's an intellectual property attorney, but he's out there in the street, boy. He's out there in those streets. He and his daughter Christian out there, they just doing all kind of great things. So I just want to thank you, brother Thomas, for you and your family, what you guys are doing for the struggle. Really appreciate you. We need more people like you. Sister Brenda Mahler, she says, sleep heals the body. She's a young lady who's very familiar with the whole health aspects. She's a walking example of what health looks like. And thank you again for the comments on saying it's a great show. So thank you again, everybody, for all your comments. Thank you for participating today. This has been a very participatory show. I just want to close by saying stay awake. And as I always end all of my shows, at least I try to, if you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and guess what, folks? You got to do it right. Enough talk.
If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you do understand will confuse you. In all of these 9 areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war.